This is Bill McMinn from Makeable Bible Church, and this is the Way to Go podcast, where we talk about faith, family, and daily life, putting the Bible into practical, everyday terms. Welcome to the Way to Go podcast, talking about trajectory. And I know this is kind of like a weird thing. Just where are you headed in life? And sometimes, like, I've taken trips. Usually, if I'm taking a trip, let's say, I know where I want to go. I typically have an idea. Like, we just went around Lake Superior, let's say. So I knew in Lake Superior, okay, we're going to drive this far on this day. We're going to stay here, and I want to see these things in this town. Then I'm going to go and visit this area, and see the Apostle Islands. We're going to kayak. Then I want to be in this town the next day, this town. There's not a lot of towns on the northern side of Lake Superior. Is nothing like the southern side of Lake Erie. The southern side of Lake Erie is very populated. Northern Lake Superior is huge. It's very sparsely populated, and their towns are here and there. 2,000 person town, 1,000 person town, 3,000. Like, you have to know and stick it. And we're blessed in that we were able to hit it every day. We were able to be right on pace, because you got to line this up and get hotels ahead of time. You know what I'm saying? So you need to be boom, 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 boom. You see a lot more when you have an idea of, like, I want to see this beach. I want to hike this rock formation. I want to see this town. You know what I'm saying? Like, you see more. I've had other trips where I wandered. I had no plan at all, except every day I would look at a place on an atlas. No Garmin at this point in life. No one had them because they didn't exist. So all you had was road atlas, and you would just say, I'm going to this point in the map. And you just stick a finger there and figure it out based on maps. Next day, do the same. Ton of fun. I highly doubt I saw the highlights of that area.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. We were literally wandering. Sometimes we get on a highway, like Highway 2 through Vermont, let's say, and it's dirt road for miles. You don't even know. This is how people get lost in snow. Like, they're looking at a map like that. Oh, it's like a main roadway. No, it's not. Their idea, this is so rural, like, exactly. This is maybe 1.5 lanes. It's like roads that go on for miles. They're not very big roads, you know what I'm saying? So, but it was fun, and we had a lot of fun. But like I said, did I really see what was there? Who knows? I was just meandering.
Yeah.
I would say in life, I don't want to meander. I'd like to have certain goals.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, you want to have, like we just talked about, debt and just making sure, hey, when do I want to have this paid off by? And you said, well, what would it take for me to pay it off by this date? Right. And you set a goals of where you want to be. Right.
And you do it.
Yeah.
But here's some things that people, as far as headed, like Matthew 25:21, his master replied, well done, good and faithful servant. I can't tell you how many times I've heard people say they want to hear that. Someday when they check out, they go into eternity, stand before God, they want them to hear, well done, good and faithful servant. So then that becomes what I would call a trajectory, where you're headed, because you want to live up to that. Another one I've heard is 1 Timothy 6:12, fight the good fight of faith, take hold of the eternal life to which you were called. Take hold of eternity. I've heard that phrase a lot of times. I want to take hold of eternity. I want to think about eternal things. I want to live for that, like laying up treasures in heaven. 1 Corinthians 10:31, so whether you eat or drink or whatever you do it all for the glory of God. Heard that one. So these are all what I would say, they're decent trajectory verses. I want to make sure I'm glorifying God. I want to make sure I hear, well done, good and faithful servant, and kind of live for that.
Yeah, and sometimes you hit, we'll say roadblocks or flat tire, things you don't expect along the way, or you run into somebody and you just feel they just keep talking to you, and you end up giving them the gospel of what, just because of where you've been, like God placed you in that spot at that time, and you didn't expect that.
True.
But you also are willing to do what he said, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you drink.
Yes, for the glory of God. So God may put it, you have a flat tire, but then you have an opportunity to be a witness to somebody who's really going through a tough time, and they start spilling their guts. Hey, I'm going through this, and you're like, who are you again?
Yeah.
but you're sharing with them, and you're helping them, and that I think those things are great. But I think in way of trajectory too, where I see it come into play is this: where are you headed exactly? In other words, when you look at the trajectory of your life right now, if you continue your current patterns, where is that going to take you? Now, this has bearing in everything. This has bearing in fitness. If you want to walk someday when you're in your 70s and 80s, and you'd like to be able to chase your grandkid. Okay. Is your current lifestyle getting you there? Or is your current lifestyle taking you further away from that goal?
Yeah.
Right. I have trajectory wise. I would like someday when I die, my wife not to be relieved. You know what I'm saying? Not to feel a sense of like, glad that's over. Some marriages, I've seen that, you know what I'm saying, where it's like, they're not very sad. Like, they're not very sad. They feel a sense of freedom that now their spouse is gone. And I would see these things as a young man and realize that's not what I want. Like, I would like to actually be missed. You know, I want my kids to have good memories. So, well, guess what? You know, I wanted my kids someday to have good memories when they got older of growing up and things we did as kids. So I did fun things. Why? Because that's trajectory. If you want to be faithful in your marriage, it's a great trajectory. Is how you're behaving going to help you to be faithful in your marriage, or going to take you further away?
Same with like a good marriage too.
Right.
In the sense of like what you're going to, if you picking up your socks is going to make your wife so much more happy, do it.
Then do it. Right.
Like you, it's kind of what you always say, what you put in, what you get out.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, I want my wife to pick up my socks so she has a chance to make me happy. So this is very much a happiness factor for you. It's, you can make me happy. So go ahead and do it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm pretty easy rolling, whatever you need me to do, whatever you want me to do is like, okay, once you communicate it and I understand it, I don't learn by osmosis and I'm a guy. So, don't bother hinting at me because I'm not going to get it. You might as well just take a 2x4 to me and just slug me over the head and tell me straight up. And I'm like, oh, okay. And that doesn't bother me. Like, I don't mind that approach. I don't mind being blunt and straightforward and like, okay, that's cool. No problem. Yeah. But I think my concern is people who get to a certain point in life that's bad, and now they like ran off the cliff, and they're, oh, look what happened. This is terrible. Where I'm listening to their story, thinking to myself, what did you think was going to happen?
Yes.
Like doing what you were doing. Why did you think there would be any other conclusion but this? Were you like paying no attention to your direction? Were you paying no attention to your trajectory? Yep. You go and let's say, God forbid, somebody's hitting their wife and the wife leaves them. Well, what did you think was going to happen? Did you really think that was going to make a difference?
Yep.
So I don't know. I think it's a huge issue, and I see it all the time where people just are not paying attention to what in the world it is they're doing.
Yeah. And same with like your vehicle. There's signs that start squeaking. That means something. That doesn't mean you turn the radio up so you don't hear it. It means we might want to pay attention because down the road, you're going to end up having to deal with this. And do you want to deal with it when it's a little easier, or it's going to cost you more down the road?
No, I actually was at that very spot just this week. So with my vehicle, when I did turn on the radio, I didn't want to hear it anymore, but I did take it to the shop and get it fixed. Obviously. It was so bad, like backing out of the driveway, things are clunky and I can't stand that sound. Like I can't stand that metal on metal sound. So, I had to take it in and get that as part of my 2 trips in a week to the shop, getting my truck fixed. 4 different things actually. So it was kind of wild. My truck's made a lot of noise in the last 2 months. I think I've had 2 wheel bearings replaced and I've had front brakes in just the last month and a half. So there's been plenty of work done on my truck. But I think going back to the marriage, one of the things that I like to think about is this in general, not saying I like to think about it, I want you to think about it with me. You have to consider, like, where is a relationship heading? Let's say if you're a guy and there's a girl at work and you think she's cute or interesting, whatever. And so now, you have her phone number and you're writing to her and you text back and forth about this and that and always joking around and sharing life and you hang out together at lunch. My question is this. Where's that going? Right? Yeah. Where do you think it's going?
Nowhere good.
Right. What do you think is going to happen? This is where you got to wake up. I'm telling you what, people's ability to justify things and be stupid is colossal, like literally colossal. We are phenomenal at telling ourselves that things are okay. Even things that we would tell everyone else not to do. We would say, don't do it. That's really stupid and you shouldn't do it. Then we find ourselves in the same situation, but we're doing it. But it's okay if we do it for some reason. No. What's your trajectory? Where is that relationship heading? And if you know full well, and you should know full well, is not really heading anywhere healthy, stop it. Just stop it. Right? your trajectory is not good. You get into pornography, another one. What's that trajectory? Where's that headed? Why? You know, I'm only looking, you know, it could be once a month or whatever, once a week. Where's it headed? Where is this going in your life? This is going, I promise you, it is going nowhere good. Nowhere good. It's going to get a bigger and bigger hole. It's like rust on your vehicle that does not get better. It only gets worse. You have to deal with it. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's exactly what you said. You got to deal with it. And it's never, well, I do it, it's nothing, nobody knows, like, but it never only affects you. Sin never only affects you. So you're gonna ruin a bunch of other lives along with it.
I would say if you don't ruin them, you're gonna hurt people for sure. And it's just, again, I'm always flabbergasted at times when people do these things and then act all shocked when their spouse walks out the door and leaves them, and you're thinking that's like the only natural conclusion to where the whole thing's been headed. It's the almost only possible outcome for what's been going on in that marriage. And one person seems surprised, and where I'm thinking there are times where we act all surprised, we shouldn't be surprised at all. We are the ones who did it. We're the ones. You can take money. We talked about money last time. If you continue to spend at your current level, where are you going to be? If you continue not to save year after year after year, where's that heading? Eventually, where are you going to be? You were mentioning, you heard some people heading into retirement are racking up credit card debt because they don't have money saved, and they're hoping they're going to keel before they have to pay it back, which I haven't heard that one actually, but that would be pretty sad if that's the case. And again, you got to think, where's it going to go? I've talked to people about debt, and they'll say this to me. And I mean, they said this to me when Obama was president. Like, this is how far along a way it was. And they're like, well, I heard he might forgive college debt. That's just Barack Obama. I heard he might, forgive college debts. Well, guess what? He didn't. So I told the person, I said, listen, if you don't pay this off, if you ignore this and put no money into your debt reduction, it's going to be far worse than what it is right now. At that time, based on their salary, it would take 100% of their salary 4 to 5 years to pay off their college debt. That's how severe it was. So now I'm looking at that. Okay, your spouse is working, live off what your spouse makes. And if you've got to work, sadly, 4 to 5 years straight just to pay off your college debt, then do it. Because it's not going away. And guess what? There is not one president that has made one significant step to really eliminate these kind of college debts. And the key is not giving people $10,000. Giving somebody $10,000 who is not, in fact, paying off their debt, you're going to be, that $10,000 is coming right back on. Because if you don't pay it, it's going to accrue and you're going to owe it. You're going to be right back to where you were. The key to the government, what I think should be happening, is we should reduce the interest rate. There should be, on a college debt, it should only be allowed to be at a certain amount of interest, because that's what's really killer. But the point is that person who's not taking care of that debt is only, in fact, trajectory-wise making that debt worse. Like you're looking at it right now. This is only getting worse from here if you do not take strident steps to try to pay it off. Young couple I'm familiar with, they have a college debt where they were just told by their financial advisor, if you pay $700 a month, it'll be paid off in 15 years. $700 a month of your income. Okay, well, then
that's a lot.
It's a lot. Because you're not making anything anywhere near making that college debt significant.
That's something I would like to hit on is you're looking at that trajectory of what, if you're wanting to go to college, don't just say, well, I'm going to go to college. Have a little more. Like, what is it? What is it? Why do you want to go to college? Is it for an actual job, or you're just, well, I want to get out of the house? Like, what is your trajectory? Because you're going to rack up all this debt and go into dorms, or look at it like I did, I went to Kent State Ashtabula to get all my beginner stuff. I didn't pay dorm prices. And that saved a ton. If you don't have to, don't.
Or if you go to post-secondary education, talking about trajectory as a high school student, and my daughter had one less year of college, and that obviously decreased then college debt because she didn't have as many years of college.
Yes, exactly.
I would say get on it. And again, you have to think, if I ignore this debt, like if my trajectory is I'm going to ignore this debt, this college debt or credit card debt or whatever kind of debt it is, and I'm going to ignore it. Okay. 1 year from now, what's that going to look like? 5 years from now, what's it going to look like? And there's a good chance it's going to look worse. The one thing you can't afford to do is let it get worse. Mm-hmm. Like, you got to stop the bleeding at some point. Right. Mm-hmm. And I think for all of us, there are certain changes we have to make as we look at the trajectory of our lives. If we feel like right now, are you getting closer to God or farther from God trajectory wise? Well, if you're not praying, you're not reading your Bible and not going to church, some people get into that trajectory. Okay, well, that's great. What's going to happen now? Right. Well, I don't really feel like I need to go to church. Okay. But what's going to happen now? Now you get into trouble. And here's what I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. You're not as close to God. You're not making as wise of decisions. You don't have the people around you to really be a support system after you face the consequences of said bad decisions you're making because you're not paying attention to God. And you're worse off. To be honest, like you're far worse off. So get the church trajectory wise. Are you getting closer to God? Or are you getting farther from God? There's not an ebb tide. You're going one way or the other, right? You're getting closer to your wife. You're not. You know what is? You typically is not an ebb tide. Ebb tide is the tide between tides. By the way, if you don't know what ebb tide is the space between low tide and high tide, where it's kind of a neutral. It doesn't really last that long. I don't believe there is that neutral in your spiritual life. Typically, it's shifting one way or shifting another.
Yeah.
So
and that's where if those that say that I really want to hear, well done, good and faithful servant.
Right.
Okay. Well, you have that trajectory. What are you doing? What are the steps? Do you even know the way?
Right.
Like let's start there. If you don't even know, how are you going to get to heaven? Oh, well, guess what? That's Jesus. Right. John 14:6, I am the way, the truth, the life. And that's where you have to know how you're getting somewhere.
Right.
And you got to start with how you getting there. What are you doing? And then once you have faith and put that faith into action and then get the ball rolling and you have a relationship with God. And
right. Well, what about putting away treasures in heaven? I mean, are you serving God or not serving God? I have plenty of people. Are you even thinking about heaven? Like, do you even think about what's going to happen when you check out of this life? You don't do anything for the Lord. So I wouldn't want to stand before God and say, yeah, I did nothing. I didn't help my community. I didn't help in church. I really just kind of did my own thing my whole life. Trajectory, I don't think that's good. Right. Yeah. I mean, that's not going anywhere positive. So I think it's hugely important to pay attention to what is my direction right now. Where am I heading? If I continue on this behavior, where is it leading? Because it's leading somewhere typically, whether good or bad. I need to pay attention to it. I feel there are people that will work their lives away if you give them half a chance. I'm one of them. So lately, like it's yard work time. Mm-hmm. I mean, clearly for Ohio right now, you live in Northeast Ohio, it is clearly yard work season. So you're mowing, we're weeding gardens. We're in 2.5, 3 weeks away from planting gardens, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, close. You can
Thanks
wait.
for reminding me.
You can wait, right? Well, you can wait till Memorial Day weekend, which is roughly a month away, or seeds probably by mid-May. We're going to have them in. But I'm saying it's that time of year. Well, there has to be some kind of stop. So I'm making a decision now. It's like, well, look, I'm not going to work outside till 8:30 at night and come in the house and list on eBay. Like, I'm not going to do it. Some people, like, they'll work and they'll get caught up in it. So say it's endless. Well, the work is endless. So, but where's your stopgap? Like, where's the stop where you're going to say, well, I'm not going to work every second of every day. I'm not going to do that. Fortunately, I do like working in the yard. Like, I really could 24/7. I think being my yard working, I'd be perfectly happy. But on the other hand, my body may not be perfectly happy.
Yeah.
So you have to rest. As somebody, you still have to get sleep. You can't be in a pattern, let's say, of getting 4 hours of sleep a night. I don't think you should be able to do that, or even 5. It's like you should get sleep, right? So if you're in that pattern, where's that going to take you? Mm-hmm. On and on and on and on and on. Just ask yourself all the time on everything, where am I headed? Where am I going? Where's it taking me? Where's it leading me? Mm-hmm. And you might find it's not taking you anywhere good.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So any last words on that?
No, like you said, lasting impact. Like, what do you want to be remembered for?
Right.
Nobody knew him. All he did is worked in his yard, didn't talk to nobody.
Right.
He told kids to stay off his grass. I mean, what?
I've had those neighbors before.
But that's what I'm getting at. But we have, it's okay to do all those things. You want a nice yard, you have those trajectories, but don't do it at the expense of relationships with others.
Right. No, I would agree with that 100%. It's just like, what is the direction? Where am I going ultimately? Where do I want to go? I really don't think a lot of people think this way. This is what I've read. Like, a lot of people don't think ahead. That's probably somebody asked me recently, well, why do you think they made that decision? I said, well, they obviously weren't thinking.
Yeah.
Because it was the dumbest thing ever. And that's a real danger, is when we are actually doing things to do them because it will feel good or make us happy, whether it's spending money or immorality or anything. Okay, well, that's not thinking very far ahead. Yeah. I've always been one to thinking down the road.
It's harder with today's world with everything so fast, so quick. You want food, you stop, pull in, they give you food, you leave. Like, there's not that patience and that slow thinking of, okay, if I'm cooking, I'm doing this and that to prepare the meal. It's let's get this. Or
have a plan ahead of time. That's another topic right there. That's another podcast topic. Like, how about have a plan to know? Well, you already knew everyone was going to be at baseball. You already knew you'd be coming home at 8 o'clock at night. Mm-hmm. So put something in the crock pot this morning.
Yeah. Then
you don't have to go eat out, right? It's just planning. We'll do that podcast next maybe. Anyway, you guys all have a great and a blessed week.